Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been a long time since the last video, but that time of year, lockdowns, etc. Meant that it took quite a while for parts to arrive. In the last video I said that I got the new swing arm. Unfortunately, when I took the chain buffer off that, I found a few more cracks in a different location to the original swing arm. So I had to replace that again. So I've now got a swing arm with no cracks. So the plan today is to get the bearings out, give it a good clean up, get the new bearings fitted. In fairness, the bearings in this one, you'll see when we're doing it, they really aren't bad at all. There's no corrosion on the spacers, the dust seals. I don't think the bearings are very old on that one, but I've got them, so we're going to replace them anyway. The first job is I've also got a replacement, the clamp for the link pipe on the exhaust. That sheared in the last video. I bought two replacements. This one I'm going to fit to the bike in a minute. The other one, when I get some plating done next, I'll send off and I'm going to have it plated black. So for the time being, it's going to have a stainless, but in the end it will get a black one to make it look a little bit more original. The original one's actually spot welded to the link pipe, so I had to sort of heat that up and get the old bracket off, which wasn't a big job. So there we are, and then I can obviously, once these bearings are in this cleaned up, start building the bike back up. The plan at the moment is to, I'm going to get the swing arm, the suspension bush and the rear wheel on. Then I can put the bike down and put it back up on the stand, but sort of level with, with more traditional, without the swing arm kit on there. That will mean I can take the back plastics off to bleed the rear brake. I'm going to take the clutch slave cylinder off because I've got a rebuild kit up there for it, so I want to do that. And at that point I'll put the chain on, and then it'll also mean I can go around the other side of the bike, and I've got that clutch kit, so we'll replace the clutch while I'm at it. I think the clutch in there is just a little bit, it still works fine, I think it's just a little bit tired. So while we're in the worst part of the year for riding, why not change it? It's only money. So without further ado, let's get on and get the bearings out of this. Right, first thing, let's get the insert in. So first off, take the dust cap off. I've cleaned this up already because I just wanted to have a look when it first arrived. Remember, when you do this, to get the thrust washer out from under the dust cap. When it's full of crap and grease, you may not actually notice it's a separate thing, but you'll definitely need the thrust washer. It doesn't come in the kit, but as I say, this is actually in really good condition. I'm going to put new on there anyway, as I've got them, but they're I'm going to keep those in the spares drawer. Right, there's a couple of different ways you can get the bearings out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the slide hammer on the larger bearing, and I'll use the bridge puller on the smaller bearings. So now we've got the dust cover and the thrust washer out of the way. We'll take the spacer out, get the appropriate sized insert, which in this case is the 30mm. Tap that into place. Put the insert in, but get the right insert, because I've got the insert for the bridge puller. I don't think that's gonna. Get that in there, and then just nip it up. No need to go too tight. screwing the slide down. Okay. Then voila. Right. So remember to take the spacer tube out of the swing arm. So now turn the swing arm over, insert the tool, and do exactly the same thing on this side. Okay, so now we're going to the lower bearings. Let's try the bridge puller for this one. So, pretty much the same as the last one. Just give it a little tap. Pop the insert in. Give it a little, it's probably a little bit too much. I hope I haven't moved around too much. You should start seeing the bearing being drawn out now. Here. She's coming. There she goes. So I'll if you can see that or not. So I'll just spin it around, do the other side, and then job's a good one. Right, so now on to putting the bearings in. I've given the inside edge a little coat of grease, and because it's so cold in the workshop and I don't want to stress this out too much putting the bearings in, I'm just going to give it a gentle warm. Not going to get it hot. Just expand that alley a little bit. Alright. One freshly prepared bearing from the freezer. Just sit that. The important bit is to get it in. Just tap it in gently to start with, so it's straight. Spin it around. Gonna have to use the socket trick, unfortunately. Keep everything as lined up as you can. That's one. So before we put the second one in, let's make sure we've got the spacer tube in. Again, another smear of grease. Worth noting on this swing arm, normally when you put the bearings in, there's like a ledge for the bearing to sit on, and if you're tapping the bearing in, it goes from ringing to a dull thud when it's on that, and you know you're in far enough. But the way this particular swing arm's machined, you can actually push the bearing through way too far. It's down here somewhere, the ledge. So when you push it in, if you're using the socket method, use a socket that's ever so slightly bigger than the bearing itself, because then it'll sit flush where it should be. Again, some people use the socket around that way. I prefer to use that face against the bearing to spread the load, and I'll just put another socket inside it like that. And again, and I've said this before and you read it everywhere, but when you put the bearings in, make sure any writing's on this side. And obviously just warming this tube up a little bit, being alley, it expands a little bit with the heat. And then you've got the contracted cold steel from the freezer, which shrinks it slightly, and it just means you can get the bearing in with a little less force or stress. So you don't really need to go over the top with the heat. Just that's it. That's the main bearing. Nice, perfect. Yep, perfect. there we go. So now, next stage is to pack these bearings full of grease, put the spacers in, dust seals, thrust washers, chain buffer, etc. That's quite boring stuff. I'll probably just fast forward that bit. So there you go. So if you don't need to spend a fortune on a bearing insertion tool. So I've got one. I've just lent it out. That obviously I've got the sockets. I think the rest of the bits from Screwfix probably came to less than £5 for the threaded bar and the nuts. And as you see, it does the job perfectly well. Schoolboy error. This goes on first. And that over the top, like so. Right. Like I said before, you can use any much lithium-based grease you want in here, but I really love that blue colour. So that's my main reason for choosing this particular brand. And so the shop that sells it's only a couple of streets down, so it's always handy. So again, just get as much in there as you can. Keep working it. And there we have it. That is Swingarm bearings in, ready to go. So the next stage will be to add the suspension link and basically fit it all back to the bike, which would be good. I'm looking forward to that.